AskReddit created by routinereddit. Which fictional death hit you the hardest? Sam the onion picker in holes. My man just wanted that lady to be his wife so they could live together in onion and peach filled bliss, and god dang it, she wanted it too. Still makes me sad to this day. I can fix that. You hear about Pluto? Holes is a much better book than it is given credit for, methinks. It's a freaking masterpiece. The movie too. I remember when I was in 6th grade we were reading that book in class. Everyone loved it. Then one day our teacher was like, oh, BTW guys, they're also making this book into a movie and we are gonna go on a field trip to see it. She was awesome. I remember one day near Christmas she took us all to her house and we watched a movie and ate snacks. When I was a small child, my father invented stories about a truck that worked hard and drove challenging roads all over the world. Then, he ran out of stories and sent the truck to the junkyard. Made me very sad as a small child who loved trucks. At age 66, makes me sad to remember. Could make a great children's book / show. And then hipsters find the old truck in the junkyard and refurbish it for the pilot of a reality TV show about edgy dudes with tattoos who refurbish old cars. Junkyard Wars or something. It probably exists already. I read Where the Red Fern Grows as a teen. When the dog Old died after saving Billy from a mountain lion, followed by the other dog Little and of a broken heart, I was inconsolable. Not sure if this should be an apology or an appreciation edit. I would like to thank everyone for the fantastic response. I stayed up late reading the comments and blowing my nose. I feel a connection of sorts with each of you. I'm 40-ish years old and I'm surprised that the book is still messing with kids' innocence. We read that book in school. Teacher had to have us read that chapter because she couldn't do it. It had been part of the school book list like forever. She had to have read that book like 20 times and still couldn't hold it together. Edit. Seems like this is a nationwide thing. Unless everyone here went to / taught at Jim Bridger Elementary circa 1996. My husband decided this book would be a good bedtime book to read over the course of a couple weeks with the kids. I objected because I'd read the book and I knew how it ended. He read the whole book except for the last part where the dogs died. He couldn't do it. I'm the hard one that had to step in, put myself in auto mode and read the words. 5 kids and 1 husband crying, and I'm trying to hold it together. I still love the book, but I know I can never read it again. That sounds like my elementary school principal. He decided it would be a good idea to read that story every day to 4th graders for a few weeks. Oh boy lol. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. Brendan Fraser in Scrubs. Where do you think we are? Thanks, wasn't planning on crying today, and yet here we are. My dad, who is the stereotypical man's man, Mr. I'm not going to cry, agreed to watch Scrubs with me and my wife. Watched the show, and was loving it. He got up to this point, looked at me after the episode and said, I didn't like that one. Got up and excused himself. Scrubs watching took a hiatus. He thought it was a show about docs with a sense for the macabre and slapstick comedy. Definitely blindsides you with this. By being sincere from the start and letting the humor come naturally, they were able to believably and painfully pull these gut punches at any time, and it would always just work. The one where Cox blames himself for the transplant deaths is the one that hits me hardest. McKinley absolutely nails it. 99. A deformed clone trooper who couldn't serve in the Clone Wars and just worked as a janitor instead. When he sacrificed himself, that hit me. I'm a soldier, just like you. Melts my heart. Without 99, Kamino would have fallen, and the Republic would have lost the war. Victory to the Confederacy of Independent Systems. More 5s. 5 story is so dang sad. He fought so hard and figured it all out, only for it to all come crashing down for him anyway. It was so terrible watching him uncover so much of the Order 66 conspiracy, knowing there was no way it could have a happy ending for him. I only wanted to do my duty. Not technically a death, but when Wally's memory banks got fried at the end, I felt that in my soul. Thankfully Pixar would never leave us on a note like that, but dang, that little robot moved me so much. I adamantly maintain that WALL-E is the best movie ever made. WALL-E was absolutely incredible. I'm very much there with you. Just the sheer ability to convey so much emotions between two inanimate objects without dialogue is ludicrous. I think it was also WALL-E that made Pixar realize how much they can toy with our hearts with simple but effectively animated storytelling. Without WALL-E, I'm not sure we would have gotten the beginning of Up. The first 5 minutes of Up are a better test of humanity than the test Harrison Ford used in Blade Runner. I don't usually cry at movies, but the start of Up usually gets me. Remus Lupin. He just had a sad life, and he died right after life seemed to be looking up for him. And then his kid became an orphan. Thanks. No, thanks. It was horrible, but in retrospect I think Sirius was worse. Remus was the victim of stigma and poverty, but he found true love and had a family. The injustice done to Sirius meant he never ever got even relatively normal human relationships. He lived falsely imprisoned and then trapped in hiding, reviled for something he didn't do, and was killed in a mere skirmish. He never got to sleep with a wife by his side. He never got justice. I can't imagine the depth of his loneliness. Edit. That's not to dismiss Remus' struggles. They both had terribly crappy lives. As a kid I always cried at the end of Prisoner of Azkaban. It seemed so unfair that Sirius wouldn't get to clear his name and Harry wouldn't be able to go and live with him and have the nice family life they both deserved. I was really sad about Fred Weirlie. The fact he was a twin made it worse. I will say, when I read the books, the only death that made me cry was Sirius. That one was rough. Yeah, it just happened like that. I was not expecting it and just wanted Harry to have a father figure. That book literally had me pacing around my kitchen reading it. As I recall, she kills off every father figure Harry has in the books. Eater, okay, nearly every father figure. Not Arthur Weirlie or Hagrid. If Hagrid died I'd have freaking lost it. Rowling said the only thing that saved Hagrid was the picture of him carrying Harry out of the forest in the end. Otherwise she said it would have been easy to kill him. And Hedwig. I lost my first dog right around the time I was reading it. It helped a little bit knowing my hero was going through the same thing I was, losing a best friend. Hedwig's death is one of the few things I really preferred how the movies did. She wasn't killed helplessly trapped in a cage. She made a conscious decision to give her life to save Harry. It made her a hero instead of a victim. And in the book there was so much drama happening that she just died and they all moved on without really mourning her at all. Out of all the HP related deaths, his hit me hardest too. For the same reason. They weren't just twins, they did everything together. I always wondered how George managed afterwards. One of the few good post-book comments Rowling has said is that George could never conjure a Patronus again because all his happiest memories were with Fred. To George, every mirror is the mirror of Erased. Hank from Breaking Bad. Dude started the series as a stereotypical meathead that I thought I was gonna hate, but had one of the biggest character arcs besides Walt and Jess. By the end I was rooting pretty hard for him. Imagine finding out someone close to you was a major drug lord. If you were a D agent IRL, that would have to be awful and embarrassing. He was mid-speech when it happened too. That doesn't happen to the good guys. Do what you're gonna do. Bang. Jesus. His scene figuring out it was Walt who was behind it all, on the toilet, and then driving away, to have a heart attack, or panic attack, and his confrontation with Walt in the garage. Really amazing acting from Dean Norris. I want to see more with him. I've seen some of his old stuff, but I feel like he shines a lot more as one of the mains or secondary mains. He was hilarious in Little Miss Sunshine though. For about a year I thought that scene was the ending of Breaking Bad because I was watching the show on DVD after it had finished, but without realizing they split the final season into 2 parts. Wash and Serenity. I'm a leaf on the wind. The hardest thing about that one is that it's also sudden. He's dead before you even realize what just happened, and suddenly they have to get the freak out of there cause the reavers are coming. Mal has to drag Zoe away cause she's in total disbelief and trying to get Wash out of the chair. Her response was really great acting too. The simple refusal to accept that he's dead, that somehow all he needs is to wake up. I actually think that her later line, "He ain't comin'," is a perfect encapsulation of her character. She's so dang tough. We see that throughout the series. She's only tender with Wash, then her whole heart is destroyed when Wash dies. She wants to mourn him and cry like a baby, but she's tough for her crew. At the same time, it is an admission that Wash is gone and he's not coming back. Heartbreaking, but amazing entertainment. She's tore up plenty, but she'll fly through. Mal may have asked her for the status of the ship, but Zoe gave him the status of herself. Littlefoot's mom in the Land Before Time. I posted this recently, but when I first saw it as a kid it was the first time that I realized that my parents could die. That thought had never even really occurred to me at that point. Even now as an adult, that scene where he thinks he sees her, but it's just his shadow and the narrator says, then Littlefoot knew for certain he was alone, still gets to me. Littlefoot's mom, dear, sweet Littlefoot, do you remember the way to the Great Valley? Littlefoot, I guess so. But why do I have to know if you're going to be with me? LM, I'll be with you, even if you can't see me. LF, what do you mean I can't see you? I can always see you. Don't make me cry on the toilet at work. I have to go back in there. That scene destroyed me as a kid. The first movie of The Land Before Time was criticized for having too much focus on tragedy and not much on adventure. Fortunately, the next 13 movies had a much more childish, adventurous, and innocent vibe. I really loved those movies. Yo, but when Chomper has to leave in the second movie, it's okay. He has another movie where he returns and reveals that he's been living a happy life with his parents and he can talk. I want to say it's the 8th one.